G'day folks, Corey Hinde here. Welcome to the Google Business Profile Workshop for 2023. This is an upgraded version with all of the best practices for Google Business Profile. I'm going to move myself out of the way so we can focus on words, etc. So the goal of this workshop is pretty clear. It's to give you all you need to know to win on Google Business Profile based on what our agency is currently doing, the experiences we've had in 2022 and before, what we're currently doing, the research we've done, and all of the intel that we've gathered. So we're going to give you our entire process that we use and talk you through each step, why we do those things, the reasoning behind them, and what you actually need to do. Okay, so that's the goal. It's pretty clear. This is really, really useful for any business that serves a local area or has a shop front. So if your business relies on a local area, then Google Business Profile is a very important part of your business, whether you know it or not. You probably do know that. That's why we've got this course, this workshop. So hopefully we can help you improve that. That's the goal. Okay, let's get into it. So a couple of disclaimers. Obviously, this is Google, so nothing is guaranteed. Nobody can make a promise to get you into position 1 on Google normally, or the top of the map packs Google Business Profile. No one can guarantee that, but what we can do is guarantee that what we are teaching you today is the most up-to-date stuff. So it's all of the most up-to-date stuff. It comes down to competition. Google is kind of like this great big giant scoreboard in the sky. Google will give people the best result based on what's around. So you might be in a space or an area without heaps of competition. Getting to the top of Google Maps, Google Business Profile might be pretty easy. On the flip side, you might be in a very hard competitive place with lots of competition, and getting into the top 3 could take a while. So for reference, for our agency, because this is about 95% of our business now is just doing Google Business Profile optimizations. That's how important it is for local business, and we've realized that it's a great thing to do. That's why we do it. So keep in mind, with our agency, we've taken people into that top 3 visible map pack space in anywhere from 1 to 12 months. That's a very big variance, I'm sure you'll agree. And it all comes down to competition. Okay, so that's why we say at the top there, this is Google, nothing is guaranteed. We just don't know what's going to happen next, and we don't know how good your competition is as well. Step 2 of the disclaimer, or point 2, is you might not need all of these steps. Okay, on the flip side, all of these steps might not deliver a result as well. So some of the things we do are more important than others, and we'll discuss it as we go. We've noticed that, like most things in life, if you stick to first principles or basic fundamentals for a while consistently, you'll do pretty well. Some of the later points in this workshop are the nitty-gritty, they're really uncovering the last few things there to try and get the advantage of your competition. And point 3 of this also says, the process changes often. Google is constantly, and I mean constantly, changing how they deliver results to people searching. So the aim is always the same. They want to give people the most relevant and best results for whatever search they're doing, whether that's a normal question or a business or whatever. So they change that process all the time. So that's why it's good to learn from us, because we're across this all the time. We can simply tell you, you should do these things here, and you can get on with running your business. So that's why you listen to people who are in the game all the time. It's a never-ending procedural change. We've changed our process quite a lot since the last version of this course last year, hence the new version is here for you guys today. Quick thing, not many courses do this. We pride ourselves on being here for small and medium-sized businesses, and that is that I personally will always reply to emails. So whatever, we've got more about this at the end, but I wanted to say up front as well, if you're confused, if you're not sure how this applies to you, if you have a quick yes or no, just flick me an email, corey.hind@goodoil.marketing, and I will reply. I can't guarantee the time frame. I'm usually pretty quick, but I will always reply. So whatever step it's on, if you're stuck, you're not sure, whether you should go this way or that way, just throw me an email, because I'll usually know the answer within seconds, which might take you days to figure out, because this is what I do. Okay, so feel free to flick emails my way at any time. Because at the end of the day, I want this course to be something that really deeply impacts your business. And for that to happen, you need to be able to complete the steps. And for that to happen, you need to be sure that what you're doing is correct. So please reach out anytime. I won't go through your whole listing and audit it or do the work for you, but I will answer any questions you've got. Okay, because I really want this to help your business. I firmly believe for a local business, applying these lessons is probably the greatest investment you can make. Okay, I've been around the marketing scene for a while, and I really believe that. So let's get into the nitty gritty of Google Business Profile success factors. So this slide is talking about the 3 areas that you need to look at when it comes to Google Business Profile. Okay, so there's the listing itself. So your actual Google Business Profile or Google Maps listing, when you go to business.google.com, that is your listing. That's clearly a step that you need to, or a factor in your success. Google will look at the listing before delivering results to people searching. Okay. There's on page. Now, when we say on page, what that means is your actual website. So when I look at your website, let's say it's fitnesstrainer.com, if that's your website, then Google, when it's delivering a Google Business Profile map pack ranking, is going to look at the listing and your website when it's deciding which results to put at the top. Okay. And then off page, the third point there means all the other things on the internet. So for example, primarily links to your website and your Google Business Profile. I'm going to say that again because most Google Business Profile people won't talk about this element, or maybe they don't do it. The off page is the links from other websites and other places on the internet to your website and your Google Business Profile listing, both of those things. Okay, just remember, Google is essentially a great big answering service. People go to Google to find answers to things. What is this? What is that? Who should I use for this? What's the best business for that? Google's in the game of answers. It's always trying to answer queries as well as possible. So with the Google Business Profile, Google is saying, hey, you're looking for a plumber in Los Angeles. This is the best recommendation right up here, right up the top of page 1 of Google is the Google Business Profile listing. They're putting their money on that business. So they're going to be looking at the actual listing, how good, how robust, how well filled out, how detailed, how relevant, how prominent, how close is this listing for people searching for that. So they'll say those 3 again. There's relevance. Is it a relevant listing? So they're looking for a plumber. Is it a plumbing listing? They're going to look at proximity. How close is this plumbing listing to this person? And how prominent, like how good is this listing? Then they're going to also look at the actual website for that business as well when they're making the decision. And they're also going to look at the rest of the internet, which is the links that point to your website. So hopefully that's clear. The 3 areas to look at are the listing. And if we just stop there, most people think it's only the listing, but it's not. It's also your website, and it's also the off-page activity or the signals or other arrows pointing at your website, the links, the social mentions, the PR mentions, all that sort of thing. Okay, so knowing that your listing is ranked based on the listing, the on page, the off page, how good the listing is, where do we start? Okay, now before we get into the steps, guys, I want to just let you know, obviously this video, this workshop, we've run through this quite a few times with people live, and we've answered questions as we've gone, which you can't do that in this format, obviously. So you can email questions, but you can also just stop. You can pause the video, go and do some research, write things down. You can speed it up if you want to, because it will be a long class. This will probably take about an hour and a half, if not more. You can speed it up. You can slow it down. You can rewind parts. So that's what you can do with this video. All those options are there. Okay, so when we start with a new campaign, Johnny Plumber comes along and says, hey, guys, good oil, Corey, we want to rank up the top of Google Business Profile for plumbing in Wellington, New Zealand. Our first step is always to establish the bullseye phrase. Now, what that means is Google is a search engine. We want to talk to people about the search phrases that people are going to use. So that bullseye phrase, we kind of made up this term, but SEO people, search engine optimization people, understand it. A bullseye phrase is what is the main thing your best customers are going to search for. So if you're a plumber in Wellington, for example, then what would that phrase be? So it's usually something really obvious and basic, but we want to go right back to square one with people and say, hey, what do your best customers search for? And it'll usually be something like town name and then the thing they do. So it might be Los Angeles fitness trainer, it might be Auckland electrician, it might be Wellington plumber, it might be mortgage broker, Christchurch, any of those things. It's a basic, obvious phrase usually. And we just make a note of that, but we'll do some keyword research as well. We'll look at data to see what people are actually searching for on Google. We'll do some random Google searches and see what Google suggests. But we want to find that most obvious thing, and it usually is something quite obvious. So for example, if you're an electrician, it'll be electrician Auckland, or it would be cleaner Invercargill, or personal trainer whichever suburb you're in, mortgage broker, North Shore of Auckland, something like that. So you might need to survey some of your customers, maybe ask your friends, maybe survey or look at the leads that you get, maybe look at Google Search Console, which gives you data about what people are searching and where your website's showing up. But we want to establish a bullseye phrase because it's going to underpin a lot of the things we'll do in the future. And usually it's a great way to start doing research on the competition as well, because you can, that obvious search, like if it's me and I'm a mortgage broker and I live in Whangarei, which is a town in New Zealand, I'm going to search Whangarei mortgage broker. So I'll start there, I'll look around, see who's in the game, and make a list of some people to call. It's as simple as that, a real obvious basic phrase. So just jot that down. You're going to use that for quite a bit of your activities in the future, but that's our step one in our agency, is to establish what that would be. It could be as simple as ask your 5 best customers, oh, how did you find me? What did you Google? What were the words you put into Google? Once we have that, we'll kick into research phase. This is really important because at the end of the day, like we said at the start, Google is a great big giant scoreboard. So we only need to beat the other people in the game. So it's kind of like a running race. You only need to beat the other people to win. The time is irrelevant. So we start researching the competition. You know, how hard is this going to be? That's one thing we want to know as an agency straight away, is how hard is this going to be? Because we want to say to our clients, look, this one, you know, shouldn't be that hard. It might take us 2 to 3 months to get you in that top 3, and then we'll keep working to keep you there and get more leads and more revenue for your business. But then on the flip side, we will say to people as well, if it's a difficult one, hey, this could take 9 months. So you're going to have to be patient. Luckily, our agency fees are really, really sharp, and most businesses can absorb that quite easily. However, it's just good to know for us as an agency, but for you, you want to start researching your competition. You want to look at a lot of things and figure out how you can beat them, because really, that's the game of Google. You just have to beat your most relevant competition. You're probably going to have, in most businesses and most business spaces, you're going to have 2 or 3, businesses you really compete with, and start looking at their listings. We found recently, we had done some auditing or looking at the electrician space in Hamilton, New Zealand, for a friend. We found that there was around 100 Google Business Profiles. It might have been more, actually. There's around 100 Google Business Profiles in Hamilton, New Zealand, that came up when you searched for electrician Hamilton, which is quite a lot. Hamilton's a big place. So when you search on that, you find all these listings. But then we looked a bit closer and we realized that probably 5 to 10 businesses across those 100 plus were actually actively managing their listings and making an effort to do well. And of that 10, probably 2 or 3 were doing an exceptional job in terms of posting updates, getting lots of reviews, posting images, posting videos, making sure all their service categories were done. And of course, those 2 or 3 are the most prominent in that town. So you want to start doing your research. You want to look at the categories they've got listed because it's a key indicator to Google. You want to look at their reviews, see how many they've got, what the average is, look at their content, what they're posting as updates, look at their name. And then if it's a competitive space, you might just make a spreadsheet and list out your top 3 or 5 and make an effort to track them regularly, like look back often. But it could be as simple as this diagram here. So this is our listing. This photo was taken last year, so we've got some more reviews, etc. now. But start at the top. What's the name of the listing? That's our name, Good Oil Marketing. Obviously, our name has the word marketing in it, which is an advantage. Google likes that. Then we'll look at the, over here, we've got the review average. So 5.0 as an average, which means we've got 1 4-star review, but our average is 5.0 because we've now got about 60 something. The category, the main category we've got is internet marketing service. It's the main one. There are others as well. We'll talk about that down the line a bit. Time in business, so 5 years plus in business seems to be quite an advantage. We'll talk more about that down the line. However, we don't believe Google audits that age, and it seems that 5 years plus is quite an advantage. So just keep that in mind. It also tells you, provides, this business, my business, provides on-page search engine optimization. So there's a lot of information right there. People will see that on a basic desktop search without even clicking into the listing. You'll see most of that, if not more, on a basic mobile search as well. So there's a lot of information you can glean there. So if somebody was to compete with us, they'd be looking at this going, oh, that's a lot of reviews. We're going to have to really go hard there. How long have we been in business? What services are we going to list? Because these guys have got SEO listed, that's us, and we win that category at the moment, have done for a while. Our main category is that. So you just start to make notes so you can be on a level playing field with your competition. Make sure you check on mobile as well as desktop. That's a really important point. For some businesses, for example, what I would call quick fix businesses like plumber, electrician, mechanic, things that happen and you need to fix them straight away, what I call a quick fix business. You need to check the Google Business Profile scores on mobile as well, because that's how most people will search. So you want to be looking at desktop and mobile just to compare and contrast, see what shows up, see what's up the top of the listing, make sure you're aware of that. You want to check their updates, what used to be called posts. What are they posting to their updates section? Are they posting to their updates section? That's something that we pay close attention to because some businesses are really active in that area and some are not. So we need to know, okay, if there's 7 of the main, say 15 areas of a listing that this business is focusing on that we want to beat, what are those 7 and how can we outdo them? Because in theory, if you outplay them in all those 7 spaces, you'll beat them eventually. Now, quick pause. I'm going to just mention before we go through this slide further, we think we have a superpower in our agency, and that is basic consistency. We come back to these listings every second or third day for every single client to check the updates, to check the reviews, check any messages, check the listing. We come back to it again and again and again. And we think Google really likes it. Like most things in marketing, in business generally, if you are really, really consistent and you turn into a robot of consistency for quite some time, you'll generally do very well. So make sure you come back to your listing often, check your competitors often so you know what's going on. Google seems to know, well, it would know that you're logging on to your platform and checking things. Okay, so a listing that hasn't been logged on to for a couple of weeks or hasn't had any reviews or anything fresh is never going to win. They're never going to make it. So make sure you're there often. The third point on the slide, back to the slide, is there's a couple of mapping tools around. There's one called Local Falcon, which is a really generous free plan. What that does is this. It grabs your listing. The software grabs your listing. You punch in your main phrase. So for us, for this search, it would have been SEO consultant Tauranga, which is where we are. And you get this for free. Now, why does it matter? It tells me that when we did this particular search, we were ranked number 1 in the city of Tauranga. We were ranked number 2 a bit further out. And the further away you get, the worse our ranking is. Now remember, Google Business Profile is about prominence, relevance, and proximity. So I'm not going to rank my listing for these services in Hamilton. Google is a local thing. It's based around local business search. However, it's good to know if you wanted to run your business. Let's say you had a lawn mowing business in Tauranga, but you served right up to Katikati because you had lots of people on the road, right down to Te Puke, and you covered all of this area with your lawn mowing business, and these were the results you're getting. Then you might go, maybe we need to start posting some, getting reviews from people here, some images, maybe some short videos of jobs we've done around here, maybe post some content about Katikati to tell Google that we're actually prominent right around this area, not just here. So just go back one step. If you Google Local Falcon, you'll find their website. You can sign up for a freebie and it'll give you this intel. It's kind of useful for some listings, not as relevant for others, but it's good intel. It's good to know, hey, why are we not ranking so well down here? What about over there? So if you've got a business that's got a broader area, this is a nice, useful step in the research phase. Okay, it's that Local Falcon. There's about 3 or 4 tools that do the same thing. There's also Local Viking, there's Bright Local, and there's Surfer SEO as well, I think does this too. The paid plans end up being quite costly because there's a cost from Google to run this data. But Local Falcon seems to be the only one with a, if you're just doing this work for yourself, for your own business, it's a pretty good free plan and it gives you that intel and it gives you a bit of a roadmap to success. So we go, hey, we're going to start doing stuff about this area to help you out down there. So moving right along, this is step 3. There's about 19 steps and there's about 60 slides. So we're going to be here for a while, guys. So feel free to take a break, pause it, come back, review. So our step 3 is to review the listing name. So I'm just going to go back 2 slides, or 3. Our listing name is Good Oil Marketing. That's our business name. But for a while, it was called Good Oil Marketing, vertical line, SEO Tauranga. Now, why is that? There's 3 levels of name. Google is quite specific. The terms and conditions around all of their products have loads of pages of things you've got to do. With Google Business Profile, you're meant to use the exact name of the business or doing business as. So essentially, you can't just make up a name. Okay? That's really important to Google because they want to be the very, very best and they want to make sure that their information is correct and everybody's playing by the rules because at the end of the day, they want to have the best business directory on the planet, which I think they've currently got. And maybe I'm biased because I'm in there a fair bit, but they want to protect the integrity of this a lot. So it's important you play by the rules. Now, the exact match, a level 1 name is what we call an exact match, which will be something like John's Electrical Limited. John's got an electrical business. Their registered business name is John's Electrical Limited. That's a level 1 exact match name. That is going to be absolutely fine. Now, if John wanted to restart his whole company and he was based in Christchurch, he might think about calling his business John's Electrical Christchurch Limited, or somehow figure out a way to get a doing business as or a trading name or trading as so that he could call himself John's Electrical Christchurch Limited. But that's an exact match. Now, if we go to level 2, is what we call a slight addition. So that will be John's Electrical, vertical line, Electrician Tauranga. Now, some time ago, this was seen as a spammy addition to a name. We've tested this a lot, and there's no risk there of being suspended. Now, a Google Business Profile being suspended or deleted is a bit of a nightmare because you can lose lots of traffic. What can happen if you add a slight addition to your name is users can, other Google users can go to that listing and edit your name, and Google will accept that. It happens from time to time. However, if you're in a very competitive space, it might be worthwhile adding that slight addition and letting it run for some time. Because what we've done in the past is do that, the name's been edited, but the rankings remain. Bit of a hack I would have to say. However, if you're in a competitive space, it's well worth doing this slight addition level. The level 3 name, which is a definite no-no, is to spam it. Okay, like John's, if this was your listing name, that's clear violation of Google's rules, and you're going to get in trouble. John's Electrical, the best electrician in Tauranga, Bay of Plenty, electrician near me. That's a clear violation, and they're going to delete you or suspend your listing, which can be a real nightmare. So level 1, no risk. Level 2, slight risk of name being altered, but possibly worth it. Level 3 is a no, no, no. I'll just show you down here. So this is one of our clients who ranks really well in a very competitive space. We've been on his account for quite some time. Michael Anastasiadis, Vertical Line Mortgage Advisor, Wellington. Now that name's been there for quite a while. He's ranking number 2. It's been great. It's been a name we've had for some time. Someone could come and edit that. It would change back. He would still rank in that position. So that's a level 2 name. Okay. Obviously, when people search for mortgage and the word mortgage is there, that's good. And in the normal SEO organic search results down the bottom, Wellington Mortgage Brokers, Mike's still on the first page, but that word mortgage in the name is quite an advantage. This one is a level 3 name. Now, I wish I knew what happened to this listing. I assume that they got a deletion, which means they can't use Google, or a suspension at least, which means please tidy this up. But Eco Pro Heating and Cooling might be their name, but they've added all the spam at the end of it. That's a clear violation. And if Google's AI robot doesn't pick this up and delete it, then absolutely one of their competitors will flag it as suspicious, and that will get taken down, and they'll be in trouble for quite some time to get that reinstated, because back in 2022, getting a Google Business Profile reinstated was taking as long as 6 weeks. And for some businesses, that's a nightmare, because that's where most of their leads come from. Okay. So if we go back up here, just remember, exact match is no risk. The name of the listing does count. That's why we reviewed at the start, guys. The name of the listing does count. So if you're to start a business, you really want to think about including some key search phrases, because if your business was just called John Smith Limited, it's not really helping Google at all. Okay. Google wants to give people clear, obvious results. So that level 1 is the way to go. But the slight addition, we do this for currently about 3/4 of our clients that pay us monthly to manage these listings for them. So about 3/4 of our clients have a slight addition. We would never go level 3 spam. It's just asking for trouble. And, we're here in the game of generating business for businesses, so we wouldn't do that. Okay, step 4. This is really, really important. That's why it's right up the front of the workshop. This is the business info tab. So if you're starting from scratch, Google's really good at walking you through this process. It's actually quite obvious. You just follow the steps and complete the data, complete the tabs, write out your description, put your name, address, phone number, get that all right, and write out about your services, and just work through the listing. If you've already got a listing, you just go back into it and open up the platform where it says edit info, and just keep going through the whole thing to complete it as fully as possible. You want to use Google as fully as possible at all times. So we'll talk later about other Google assets, etc. But with a product like Google Business Profile, they make changes to it all the time. They want people to use it fully. They want you on Google rather than somewhere else like Facebook, okay, or Yelp or Yellow Pages. They want you to use Google. So they reward people who use every area, every part of the listing possible. So complete it fully. Use your bullseye phrase where possible. So for example, if you were going back a few steps, John's Electrical in Christchurch, you would put John's Electrical Electrician Christchurch amongst some of the parts of the listing. In the business info tab, you put it in the about, you put it in some of the service descriptions, all that sort of stuff. Make sure you get your categories right. So do your research, check what categories your competitors are using, and make sure you're using the right one. For example, if you're an electrician, you don't want to be listed as an electrical supplies store, because you won't get the electrician jobs. If you are a builder, You don't want to be listed as a landscape builder because you won't come up for the right searches. You've got to help Google to make it as easy as possible to give people the relevant results. Remember, Google Business Profile is about proximity. Where are you? Relevance. Are you relevant to that search? And prominence. How good is this listing? So categories, you can even add 2 or 3 more to cover a broader selection of things. So for example, we have a landscape client. They don't just do landscaping though, they also do lawn mowing. They also do commercial and private gardening jobs. So we've listed them as gardeners, landscapers, landscape gardeners, and lawn mowers. The primary one is landscaper because that's where most of the business comes from. But we've done all those listings because Google can see that based on their website and the services on their listing, they do provide those services. So when we did our research phase, we figured out that they've got 2 or 3 main competitors. That's what they are doing, and we made sure that that was reflective of the business services they actually provide. This is what the platform looks like now. So obviously you guys will know this. There's a big change last year with the platform. It now looks more like this. You're kind of managing it on search as opposed to the old platform. But when you dive in here to edit profile, it'll take you through that area. You often see some notifications down here that Google is suggesting you might want to do, like add in an email address or a contact us or add an update or you've got a message. But if you start up here with the edit profile, that will allow you to work through this business info tab. So you want to click on there and it'll look pretty much like this. It'll walk you through all these areas, and you'll see that little slidey bar. There's a lot of steps in there, lots of areas. But if you look at ours, start with the name, business category, so that's been changed a bit recently, marketing consultant, internet marketing service, marketing agency. They're all the different things our clients are looking for. The description, make sure you complete that fully. Make sure you pop some keywords and location words in there. So you'll see our very first sentence, digital marketing agency Tauranga. So what we do and where we are right up the very top. So make sure you do that because Google is crawling around using AI, artificial intelligence, to pick up the keywords that it wants to see. It goes, aha, marketing, Tauranga, good, relevant, prominent, proximal. So that's all of those steps are important because the Google bot crawls through all of them to figure out who you are and what searches you should appear for, all of those things. Going back to the business info tab again, we've mentioned some of them. The service areas is really important as well. So make sure you pop down the suburbs as well. If you're a service area business, make sure you complete that section. If you're a local storefront business, make sure you mention other suburbs as well. The appointment link. So in that business info tab, there is a website link, but there's also an appointment link. So make that something different. So it might be a booking form, it might be a contact us link. We usually, as an agency, will start with the contact us page. It gives Google another signal, another link. It helps Google to figure out who you are, what you do, all that stuff. But we'll start with, it might be Good Oil Marketing / contact as the appointment link, because on that page there is a form and details. And that's what Google's after. What is on that link? Is it names and phone numbers and email forms? Yes, perfect. With your description, use your keywords. We mentioned that just before. It really is important. Sometimes people have just grabbed their About Us details off their website or Facebook page. They've put that in there, which is okay. But make sure you go through that description. It's got quite a bit of space. Make sure you use it all. And make sure you put that bullseye phrase and at least 1 or 2 references to where you are. You really need to make sure you've got the location listed in there, because Google, if you're not telling Google where you are, it's very hard to rank you for an area. Okay. And the last one on that business info tab, and we see this is missed quite often, is the opening date. So the business might be 20 years old, but the business owner has not put an opening date at all. So that'll be left blank. Google likes things that have been around for a while. So if you've been in business for more than 5 years, absolutely, certainly fill that in. We don't think that Google double checks these dates. So, if your business is 1 year old and you had a date that was 5 years, I don't know if I'd necessarily advise you to do it, but from what I can tell, you won't get penalized for that. And I've looked at this quite a lot. I can't find any evidence of penalties for using a false opening date. I wouldn't recommend it, but I think you could get away with it. Maybe just keep that between you and me. Right, let's roll on to the next step. This is just another screen showing us that description area. It's got 750 characters, which is quite a lot. You'll see in there we've mentioned New Zealand, we've mentioned Tauranga, all the things that we do. Right, we're going to move on to reviews. So when it comes to Google reviews, we feel in 2023 that these are becoming more and more important. Our opinion is that with the internet generally, people are quite well educated now and really don't believe much. They need to be sure that you're trustworthy. So the reliance on reviews is becoming greater and greater. I think you'll agree. I do this. Most people I know do this. When they find a business online, they go straight to the reviews to see what other people are saying. It's how we communicate as humans. Word of mouth is huge. We use it in all aspects of our life. So we feel that that's now where the internet is at as well. So our fifth step of the process for Google Business Profile Optimization is to look at the reviews and see how it's going, how regular they are, what their average score is, how good the competition is with their reviews. We go through it and really try and figure out a system for the client to help them get more and regular and good reviews. We think it's a really critical step. So initially we'll go into the listing, we'll click on the reviews tab, and we'll make sure that all of the reviews have been replied to. Even if they're old, we will reply to them. Lots of reasons for that. Reason number one is, again, it's Google best practice. It's there. Google wants you to do it. It's a step you should take. So Google wants all things done fully. Next reason is that when people see a business is replying to reviews, it almost prompts them to want to leave a review because they want that social interaction. It's a subtle thing, but we've noticed that when you start replying to reviews, more seem to flow in. The social proof aspect of reviews is huge, so you've really got to embrace this step. We also notice that with a reply, it might come back to someone as a notification a week later, and then they might remember your business and go back to it, or tell a friend about it, or show a friend your reply. Who knows? But it's a good thing to do. You can even then use those reviews and those words and replies as screenshots for updates on the listing itself. But we want to try and figure out a way with our client to systemize this so that they regularly get reviews. So we've got a blog article here. That's the URL, goodoil.marketing blog, how to get more Google reviews, 13 tactics that work. We usually, look, at the end of the day, we only need one of these methods to work for a business to get good reviews, but we try and establish a couple of ways that will work. For example, my favorite is quite simply to block out half an hour in my calendar. And I do this, I've done this for a couple of clients and it works really well. Block out a time each week, let's say Monday, 10 a.m. And your job at that time is to simply reach out to last week's customers, ask them how it went, and say, hey, how did we do? We'd love to hear from you. We value your feedback. Are we up to your expectations? What could we do better? Now, if somebody comes back and says, wow, you guys are awesome, nothing negative, all great, you might reply to them again and say, would you mind giving us a Google review to reflect that? That would be really useful, and send them your review link. That's one method that we like that works really well. But if you go and check out this article, I'm sure you'll find a couple of ways that are applicable for your business. This week, we're doing a couple of interesting things. We're going to get clients to revisit their invoice templates. We're going to get them to pop their Google review link in there if they can. We're going to be deleting some bits and pieces from people's email signature block to replace it with their Google review link. There's lots of ways to do it. The bottom line is, though, to win on Google Business Profile and not only rank in the map pack list in that top 3 coveted position, you don't want to just appear there. You want people to click on your listing and pick you. Now, if somebody's got 5 reviews and the average is 3.5, and the next guy's got 37 reviews and the average is 4.6, who are they going to pick? They're going to pick the business with the more robust review profile. So we really recommend people dive into this and figure out what works best for their people. We know some people won't reply and review. We know some people don't have Google accounts. We know that sometimes people do leave a review and it doesn't turn up. There's no explanation for that, but you've still got to keep trying. It's kind of like going to the gym. Not every workout's going to make you stronger. You just got to keep going, because in the long run, you'll win. Okay, so we're very bullish on this. To be honest, I have to give myself a very frank appraisal and say I pester my clients about this. I'm probably quite annoying. I'm only annoying for one reason. They are paying my agency to help the business grow, and I know full well that more Google reviews is a great way to convince humans to use their business. It convinces Google to rank you higher. It also convinces other humans to use your business. So get onto the reviews, and if you need any help with it, just email me. I will look at your business and suggest one or two ways quite easily. It's not really that difficult. It's just about deciding, establishing, and rolling it out regularly. Okay, there's a few cool widgets and things these days. We're looking at a couple at the moment. We have one on our website called Elf Site. Elf Site is so probably write that down. Elf Site as a widget is a very good widget that gathers reviews and then displays them on your website. I now think that sort of a process is a must for a website. You must be displaying social proof. It's no longer a nice to do, it's a must. Otherwise, you just won't win. And that's what this workshop's all about. Okay. So I just discussed before what I call the two-step email feedback approach, which is just email people, ask for feedback, and when you get some nice words back, then come back to them with your Google review link. And we can show you where those are. But if you go to your Google dashboard, you see the little Get More Reviews button. Press that, copy the link, and send that out to people. Okay. The next step in our process is posts or updates. They used to be called posts. Now they're called updates. If you go to a Google Business Profile on mobile, you'll see updates at the bottom. On some desktop, you'll see the updates. Sometimes you won't. When we start with a new client, we will post as often as possible. Okay, we'll get out there and we'll post often because we want to test it, see what's happening with regards to Google and views. We want to see if images are getting views. We want to see if words and a link gets any views. We want to see if a long update pushes the ranking up. We're really just testing at this point in time. It's a semi-controversial point. Some of the Google Business Profile pros on planet Earth would say that the updates are not essential. I think they probably are. However, they're no longer in the top 5 things to do. I think that you'd be mad not to use it because it's so basic and easy. If you've got your categories right, you've got good reviews, you've described your listing really fully, you've put the keywords in, you've got lots of images in there, everything's looking good, why not post? And we would even make it even simpler than that and get what we now get our clients to do is we have a blog article which is very useful about a product called Publer.io. It's a social media managing tool. It's very good. You can get 3 accounts linked to it for free. So you basically go there, write out a post. It might be a Q&A post about your business. You tick 3 boxes and it sends it to LinkedIn, Facebook, Google Business Profile, all for free with no more time investment on your part. So why wouldn't you do that? I think it's a great way to run your social media and something we get clients to do now. But I don't think that not doing updates is smart at this point in time. Probably in the last 6 months, so since midway through 2022, more people have suggested that the updates are less relevant. However, I still think they've got value, and they don't have to be written posts. They could be images, they could be client photos, they could be short videos. There's lots of ways to do that. Suffice to say that right now, today in our business, we still do posts and updates for our clients. So you should do that as well. You might do a fact post. So the name of your business, your bullseye phrase, and something obvious. Johnny's Electrical Christchurch. Yes, we change wiring. Something as short and simple as that. You might then do a post which is copying one of your reviews, or maybe you're taking a screenshot of a review, popping that in as an update. That will be fine as well. You could use that across other social medias as well because it gives people a nice feeling that you've got good social proof and you're a trustworthy business, you might go into your service descriptions that you've got for your listing and copy one of those out or describe it more fully. You might talk about a key service you've got. So if you're a mortgage broker, you might talk about refinancing. If you're a hair salon, you might talk about coloring. There's all sorts of things you can do. You know your business, and you should know how to create content that's relevant for your business that answers people's basic queries and phrases about your business. Frequently asked questions. We've got a YouTube video about this. If you go to our YouTube channel, just look up Corey Hinde on YouTube. We've got a content creation video. It talks about lots of things you can do to create content, but FAQs are really, really good because that's what Google is. It's a question and answer service. So you might ask your clients and followers and staff, what are the top 10 questions we get on the phone, via Messenger, via email? What are those questions? You might write them out and post those one every day for a while as updates, and then you might want to morph those onto LinkedIn as well, or Facebook, wherever your business is. You might do image posts, so just take some photos of the business, put those in there. We'll test out really long posts, so write out a lengthy thing about the business, and then the next week we might do a really short one just to, again, test it and see what works and what doesn't work. So do use the updates feature. It's very useful. We do it often. You should do it often, but again, those last few words are really important. The frequency does depend on your competition. So what I'd love to see for all of our clients, and we will hopefully be undertaking that this year with our clients, I'd love to see if you guys do, is you do use something like Publer.io. We've got a link we'll pop in the course somewhere. Get in the habit of using that every second or third day. Just go to the dashboard. It's really cool. It gives you features you can't get on other Facebook native, for example, or Google Business Profile, the actual part where you can do a post. So Publer gives you the ability to do bold, italics, all this cool stuff. Get there every second or third day, send stuff out to your various places, and just make it a regular part of your business, because people are out there on the internet, they're searching for you, and the more mentions you get, the more weight you put out there across the various social platforms, etc., the better for your Google Business Profile, because Google knows everything about the internet. It's out there, it's gathering data, it's like Big Brother is watching. They pretty much are. Big Brother is watching. So the more stuff out there that's on point and answers questions that people have and is relevant to your business, the better for you. Step 7 for us is we will go into the service descriptions. So I'm just going to flick down here and show you. So when you go to your dashboard, just quickly, we mentioned before the review URL. So it's there. So click on there, and you'll get your review link. That's really important. If you go back to that review section, that's where your review link is. The previous step we talked about updates. You do that there, you press add update, and up comes a box that lets you do your thing. But for this part, we're talking about editing services. So when you click on that, you'll see this, which is all the different services that you've got. And when you click on one of the boxes there, like that box or that box or that box, that's the name of the service, electrical safety check, and then it lets you write some stuff as well. So I'm just going to roll back up to here. So make sure you use as much of that allowance as possible. So all that space they give you, use keywords, use a bullseye phrase, drop in the name of the town. We never see this when we take on a new campaign. We've probably only had one client last year that came on board that had all of these service descriptions done well. Some had done them at a minimal level. Most had not done them at all. So when we went in initially to click on there, most of our clients just had the heat pump, emergency lighting. They hadn't clicked simply because they didn't know they could. They didn't realize they could click on there and write out some stuff. So it's very worthwhile because it's a little edge that most of your competition won't be doing. And again, like we said at the start, Google wants you to use all of these places. They'll pop up here with little recommendations, and that's Google saying, engage with us, use our service, do all the things, and we will reward you with more leads, phone calls, a better position on Google, more prominence. And look at this business, 20,000 views this month. That's a lot. So that's a well-optimized listing, and they get the rewards. So don't miss this. It's a really important step. Most of your competition will not be doing this, so please do it. Step 8 is an extension of the previous step. If your business uses products on Google Business Profile, you would follow the same process. Go through there, use all the real estate possible, write out the descriptions fully, use keywords, use the location, bullseye phrase, all that stuff. I'll gloss past this one because not many of our clients use it, but if you are using Google Business Profile to sell products, then treat it the same as the previous step, which is to use it fully. Right, step 9. This is an important step. It's not that difficult, so you should do this. You can probably get this step done today in 20 minutes, if that. So photos. Google really, really likes images and video. As time goes on, it becomes more visual. I think you'll probably agree that Google uses, on a normal search now, you'll often see on page 1 images, checklists, videos, a whole bunch of stuff. Whereas years ago, you'd just see a bunch of hyperlinks, right? So Google's morphing into that page 1 as the place to find everything. They're kind of hoping you don't even go off page 1. So you're going to, in the future, you'll search for something. You'll see your Google Business Profile listings. You'll see some videos. You'll see a checklist. You'll see a featured snippet, which is Google's answer to a question, all on page 1. But it's definitely getting more visual. So we will go into our clients' other places straight away. So we'll go into their website, their Facebook page, Instagram, whatever they've got, and we'll download all of their photos and we will upload them to their listing. So if you go here, it'll just show you the little button just there where the big red arrow is. Here we go. Add photo. You click on there, and then you've got the option of uploading. It's also over here as well. You can also do it straight from your phone. So you can walk around the business with your phone, take photos, and upload them straight to your listing via the Google Maps app. So it's pretty easy. It's quite important because we know that when we do that, it helps boost the listing, pushes it up higher, gives it more visibility, and that's what we want because at the end of the day, those top 3 listings get all the phone calls. Okay, so not only will we then get all their photos from everywhere on the internet, we will ask the customer or the client in our instance to send us more. What else have you got? Go through your phone. Have you got anything else we don't know about? Is there images on LinkedIn? Have any staff got photos? What if you're a lawn mowing business? Have your guys out on the road got before and after photos? Let's get those in as well. What if you're a gym? Can you take photos of the gear, show people how to use it? Maybe let's do that every week. So maybe every week you can get us a few photos, send them through. The last point, for some industries, your customers will do this for you, which is pretty cool. So probably one industry where this is very prominent is hospitality. People, for whatever reason, love to, well, they do 2 things with Google Business Profiles and hospitality. They leave reviews quite often, good or bad, and they take photos. So they will upload photos. We did this for a restaurant last year. They had thousands of photos. They had quite unique food. People love to sit there, take photos of the food, and upload it to their Google Business Profile. Even when you go to a location now, you might go to a park or a reserve or something. And when you do your research on Google, up will come the Google Maps listing for that location, and you'll see photos uploaded from other people. So it's kind of the same. So suffice to say, at this step, photos and short videos under 30 seconds are all very useful. I should reiterate that those short videos can be used as well. We normally go for 20-second videos because they'll allow us to upload them. Sometimes closer to 30 seconds might not get through. But also, can you find a way to get your customers adding photos for you? Once other people are doing your marketing for you, you are winning. That's a broad phrase. That means word of mouth. If other people are spreading the word about your business, that's good. If people are leaving reviews for your business, that's good. If people are leaving photos of your business on Google Business Profile, that's also very good. So we want to get to that level where other people are doing the marketing for us. Going to go past there. Okay, step 10, guys. So in here at step 10 is the Q&A option on Google Business Profile. 2 points here. Point 1, almost every business forgets about this. They're just not aware that it's there. They don't use it. They haven't thought to use it. Most businesses that you're competing with will maybe write out their services and maybe get some reviews, but they haven't really thought about the Q&A. Now, quick note, Google is Q&A. That's exactly what Google is. We go to Google for an answer. So Q&A is really, really important to the whole algorithm. It's a great way to differentiate and get an edge. So we know that most businesses don't use it. Therefore, it's going to be a powerful way to increase your prominence on Google. If you look at this next shot, I think Google likes to give us very strong indicators about things. I'm going to go back up here because that seems to have disappeared. Let's go down again. Okay, there it is. So if you look at a Google listing, just let this complete its thing there. Good old internet must have slowed down a bit. The Q&A option is sitting here in your dashboard. A lot of people just have quite simply never noticed it. So what you can do is you can press that and you can ask a question. You can even do it yourself as we've done and then answer it yourself. So we advise people to do this because if we go to this next slide, it'll show you that for a normal Google Business Profile, the Q&A is sitting really high. Now, Google always, and SEO people around the world will always agree with this point. Google always has loads and loads of ranking factors, so lots of things that they use to decide on who's who, right? Now, if you look up here, you've got a normal URL, business2community.com. It's a normal URL. Then you've got the meta description here, the description of this page. But then the big blue guy in the middle, right? That's the meta tag. How do I add my business to Google Maps? That's called a meta tag. Google tells us there that that's really important because it's big, it's blue, it's obvious. Likewise, when they put things high up the page. So on the right-hand side here, which is kind of the knowledge panel, I guess, for the Google Maps listing, the Q&A sits up above the reviews, sits up above the description. So you need to click on there to see them, but it sits up high, and the button there, the Ask a Question button, is also pretty high up. So Google's telling us this is really important, and it makes perfect sense to me. I've been in this Google game for quite a few years now, and Google just wants to help us find answers to things, and we can see there that it's really high, it's really prominent. If we go back a slide or two, I'm telling you that, most people aren't doing it, yet it's such a great little edge. So I would argue that for most people, you're better off doing the Q&A part of this than even doing updates on your business at the moment, because again, it's so prominent now, and Google does leave clues about things as well. All right, let's go on to step 11. Okay, folks, moving right along to the next step. So the next step we will then undertake in our process when we're taking on a new campaign is the G page link. So we will make sure that on their website, or in particular the Contact Us page, there's a link back to the Google Business Profile. Okay, Google is like a great big giant spider web. We want to build connections and links. Okay, so remember that the more links and connections that are good and relevant, the better for you. So we want to link from your website to your Google Business listing, and it'll normally say something like Google listing here or Google Business Profile here. I'll show you what I mean. If I go down one slide, we'll have an image which shows us okay, not sure where that's gone. It'll pop up in a second. There it is. So right, so sorry about that. There's a bit of a miscommunication. So on the old profile manager, you had this option here, share your business profile. Looks slightly different now. If you go to the new one, it will grab you a URL, which looks like GOOGL. this one here, G page. Right, that's the right one. So when you click on share here, this one was done from Maps, Google Maps. You just want to find that share button and you get this link here, g.page. For us, it's g.page. Sometimes now, often now I should say, it'll be g.gl, and that is the link you want. So you want to grab that link, copy it, put it somewhere, and you want to put that on your website, preferably on the Contact Us page. It's quite a useful thing to do. Just going to go back up, make sure we didn't miss a slide. Okay, sorry about that, just jumped around a bit. That's what happens. So grab that link, and we want to have that on preferably the Contact Us page. So you're going to have phone number, email, but also Google Business Profile as well on your Contact Us page. The next step is to enable the messages and the website on the current platform. So click on them, turn them on, tailor them as you need, complete the website fully with the About Us and Google Maps there, maybe as well as the links. So sometimes people have the Google Business Profile link and the Google Maps embedded as well. I'll show you that on the next slide. Also make sure you have Google Maps app on your phone. So you want to have, if you've got an iPhone, you want to also download the Google Maps app because it helps you receive messages about the listing. It helps you to receive a notification that there's a question or a notification that there's a review. It also allows you to upload things to the listing as well, a very fast, efficient way. If you use an Android phone, that's already what you'll be using. But if you use an iPhone, grab that too. So this just ties back together to that last slide. So edit profile, you'll find the website link in there. The messages, you just click on that and it'll turn it on. Okay, if you haven't got that turned on. When you set up your listing, there'll be some notices down here. If you've missed any of this stuff, it'll normally say turn on messages, turn on Q&A, all that sort of stuff. So if we go to the next step, sorry, just going to go back one step as well. So inside the edit profile is most of the editing you need to do to your listing. The edit services has a fair bit as well, but the edit profile does have lots of places to investigate. So make sure you work right through that. Just going back to that G page link, you'll find that in there where it says manage website. We've got a slide a bit further that shows that. So the next step we do after that enabling messages is the next step that we take is we do local business citations. Now we're shifting from the listing into off page. Now we said at the very start of the workshop that your listing position is based on three things. It's based on your listing, it's based on the on page, your actual website, how your website is built, what it says, all those things. It's also based on off page, which is that web we talk about, the other websites pointing to your website. This is kind of step one there. So when we first take on a new campaign, we alert our team and say, hey, Johnny's electrician business has just started with us. Let's get going with these business citations. So what is a business citation? Essentially, it's a listing online somewhere, like a directory. So Google Business Profile is in fact a citation itself, but if you look at other things like Yellow Pages, if you look at any business directory in New Zealand, there's things like Neighbour Link, Neighbourly, there's some big international ones, there's Yahoo Business, there's Brown Book, there's a whole bunch of these great big giant directories. So we go through those and make sure that your business is listed on the most relevant ones, and it's really important that they're done fully and well. Some are more important than others. So for each country, it's a bit different. For New Zealand, we have a list soon I'll show you, which has got all the top 10. But you want to make sure that your bullseye phrase is in there. You want to make sure that your name, address, phone number, email address is all super consistent because Google's search around the internet for consistency. Likewise, they hate confusion. So you don't want to have different addresses somewhere on the internet. You don't want to have different phone numbers. You don't want to have different email addresses. So we list out all that info for our team, and they get busy doing that and undertake that for us. And that's how you do it. So you make sure that your business is listed. Now, if you look at the second point, I should delete the word experimenting because we're now doing this as a standard. We don't just link to the normal website. We link to the the Google Business Profile as well, and also the G Sites link if they have one, which is that free website that used to be automatically created within Google Business Profile, which still exists for most businesses. For the bigger citations, so if you're in New Zealand, for example, a very good citation is Neighbour Link and also Neighbourly, two different ones. You want to include your social profiles as well. So they'll give you the option of listing your Facebook page, your LinkedIn page. Make sure it's all there. The more linkages, the better. The more information, the better. This is a real key step we've been doing for about 6 months, and the data is very, very compelling. It's very clear. When we build citations, so we get our guys to build these citations for us, these directory listings. I say citations, I might also say directory listings. They're the same thing. We're using the main business URL. We're using the Gmaps link and the G-Sites link. So I'll show you what I mean. So for us, our main URL is goodoil.marketing. If you go to Google Maps and you find our listing and it says share, then there's also this listing. So GOO.GL maps, blah, blah, blah. If you paste that into a browser, the actual maps listing for our business comes up. We also use the G-Sites link. Now, this is the free website that Google Business Profile created or creates. It still exists. So we are creating links for all of these things because, well, we did our research. We talked to lots of very smart people and decided it was a good idea. We've since tested it and turns out it is a very good idea. So we're creating these citations and the links. What people used to do was just do the links to the main URL. We are now creating links to all three of those destinations. If it's a really new Google Business Profile, and also in the future, after we record this, I think these G sites, these business sites will disappear. That's my personal opinion. It's not fact. It's just my opinion. I think they're going to disappear. So it'll just be these two. Suffice to say, though, that sending links to these various places, it ties your website. Your website and your Google Business Profile are talking to each other. They're talking to Google. It's telling Google, this is this business, this is where they are, this is what they do, and this is how prominent they are. So work on all of those because, yep, they're all really important. So when we talk about that previous slide, which mentions that Google Business site, this is where you find it. So you go down your business information tab, you'll see a website tab, and then manage. If you click on there, or you can actually see ours there, you have a website created with Google. When you search for my business online, that link still comes up on the first page. So it's still there, it's still in play, it's still very important. What Google tends to do, and they've done that in this instance as well, they will make it harder to find something, but they won't kill it off. So this is another of those Google digital assets that's been around for a while. They don't really want people to use it, so they're kind of hiding it, but they're not going to kill it off because they just know that that will enrage people and open up a whole can of worms with emails and phone calls and people. So they're just kind of putting it in the back room, but it's still there. And we firmly believe that creating those business citations to both your main website, your Google Maps listing, and this is current best practice. So you should do that too. In fact, we've ranked a really hard listing just the day before I shot this. We found out that one of our really hard competitors had hit number one in a competitive space, in a competitive town, and we rolled this strategy out only about 4 weeks ago. So it's pretty topical for us. So definitely crack on with that. Here's another place you can find it. Okay, it'll just give you an option to click it and copy it. So it's still there. And it's that free Google website that, look, people might never see it. Much like some of the business citations and directory citations, people might not see it. Much like Google Business Profile updates and posts, people might not see it. But, big but, Google knows it's there. And Google's Google is the engine aggregating the data to decide who's up the top. So we do it for Google. We don't necessarily do it for people. In this instance, we do it for Google. Okay, let's rock on to, oh, here's the other link, the goo.gl. When you go to Google Maps and it gives you the option to share, that's that link as well. So that's where you find those links. You've got your main link, you've got the previous slide with the business site link, and you've got the slide from Google Maps. So you go into Google Maps and actually search for your business name exactly. You'll see the listing there, and it's got that share button there. Okay, so that's where you get it. Right, moving right along. If you are in New Zealand, we have an article on our Substack page which talks about the top 10 places for Kiwi businesses. So it's coreyhinde.substack.com/p, top 10 places for Kiwi businesses. That's what we think are the current top 10 business citations or business directories. For most small businesses, if you're just a little business in Wellington somewhere, for example, you could work through that entire list and get it done in a couple of hours. In fact, probably 1 hour, you'll get all of those listings done. And it's well worth it because it sends a very strong message to Google about your business. Make sure, if you're just going to do those top 10, which I would recommend, use those, all the links and your social links as well. In New Zealand in particular, Facebook is still a really important place, so do that. If you're in a country where Twitter is really important, do that. If your main thing online socially is Instagram, do that. Make sure that your most important places are there, because it's just about building that big giant spider web of data for Google to find and then go, aha, these are the guys that deserve to be up the top of Google Business Profile. Now, step 14, at this point in time, you might have been doing lots of work on your listing, the actual listing itself, as we said at the start, your listing, then your website, and then your off page. You might have done loads of work on the listing. You might be getting some traction. And in fact, you might have even gotten to the top of your business category. So you might think job done. And you might just revert back into, hey, let's chase reviews. Let's get some images uploaded, and we'll probably maintain that position. And you probably can, which is great. If you've been doing the work, it's 3 months in, you're really getting nowhere, then you need to take these steps as well. This is something we do in about month 2 for a new campaign. We will start to audit the actual website. Okay, so you've probably been in business for a while and you've heard of these SEO audits. What that really means is, hey, SEO person, what's holding my business back from ranking up the top of Google? So if we take Google Business Profile out of the equation and we talk about normal Google search, why aren't I at the top? That's what an SEO audit will usually find. So look at the backlinks you've got to your website, the arrows, the linkages with other websites. It'll look at the speed of the website. It'll look at the content, the pages, the words, the linking within the website. It'll look at the technical build of the website. It'll look for errors. So are there any broken links or massive images that are too big? Are there any misspelt words? All that sort of stuff. So an SEO audit can be quite a expansive thing. And fixing all of the things might not necessarily rank you up the top, but it'll usually help. We will normally go in pretty early on and we'll look for any obvious things holding the website back. So in particular, we'll look at the speed. So if you just Google speed audit website, you'll find there's loads of ways to do this one, but you'll need to figure out whether your website is loading slowly, because Google does not like slow loading websites. They never have, but more so since 2021. They're quite outspoken about the fact that they did not want to send Google searchers, Google users, to slow loading websites, because that's a bad user experience. They want people to go to fast websites. So we figure that out straight away. Is this website slow? Then we fix it. We use a bunch of free tools online, and myself, I run through some tools that we've got, some software we've got, and we look at anything that's technically holding the website back. So it's kind of like if you look at a house. It might look good, but is it built to code? Is it safe? Is it robust? Is it well built? That's what a technical SEO audit will do. So it might be worth your while paying for a technical audit, or you might just run some free audits online and they'll usually pick up the basics. Oh, there's some broken links. There might be a blog post with some broken links, links to other pages which no longer exist. Fix that. You've got all these big images, you need to squash them down using a tool, do that. You've got some spelling mistakes, fix that. You've got a slow loading page here, fix that. There's all sorts of things, but it's a step worthwhile taking. And the normal SEO component of ranking your normal website on Google is still a very worthwhile task. That's what our agency mostly did a couple of years ago. We still have some clients doing that. It's very worthwhile. Suffice to say that you need to make sure your website is good and fast and relevant and has been updated recently. Little things like the dates, the current year, all that sort of stuff. So we will work through that with people. It's for some people, you can do it yourself. It depends how long you've been around online, but it might be worth getting a person in to audit your website as well, just to pick up anything basic. But certainly if you get that speed right, you'll probably be a happy camper. More details. So number 1 on this list is speed. The number 2 thing we would look for an audit of our client's website would be the bullseye phrase. Is it there? Is it in the page titles? Is the word electrician, for example, if that's what the business is that in the page titles? Is it in the text? Is it in the headings? Because Google will look at the pages on a website. They'll look at the URL, the name, the link. They'll look at the main heading. They'll look at the small headings. They'll look at the content. They'll look at all that stuff. So we look for that to make sure it tells Google exactly what we do. Then we'll look at backlinks. So we have in our agency for our clients, we have non-stop backlinking going on. So all of our clients are listed on a master spreadsheet. We have a team building backlinks all the time. So what their job is to do is get other websites linking to the client's website. Anchor text. So there might be you might have let's say you're a mechanic and you recommend the tire business next door, and the tire business recommends you as well. So on their website, it might say Corey's Mechanics, but the actual URL could be corysmechanics.co.nz, but the words on the page might say Corey's Mechanics. That's called anchor text. So we'll look at what anchor text is being used. We'll look at who's linking to this website, and maybe we might even look at your competition and see how good is their backlink profile. Why are these guys beating us? Do they have some big, impressive websites linking to them? So maybe we need to create some good, high-value backlinks as well. In fact, that's something you should always be thinking about with SEO anyway, with your website and your Google Business Profile, YouTube channel if you have one, is who's linking to us and who are we linking to. We want to build connections and links. Point 4 on this slide is to add that Google Maps link to your site and also the link. I think the next slide shows that. Also, consider building location pages on your site. So if you're in a really competitive space and you serve a local area, which is probably why you have this course, you might consider building pages on your website. So you might be an electrician in Auckland, but you might build a page about electrical services Ponsonby. You might build another page about we provide solar panels in Albany. You might create pages that talk about certain locations, which will help Google to figure out who you are and what you do. This is a client that has done this pretty well. So this is their About Us page, their contact page. Now you'll see the obvious stuff up the top. They've got their phone number, cool, email, cool, address, but Google Business Profile, that links to their actual Google Business Profile site. And then they've also embedded the map, which shows their listings. So that's not that difficult to do, but you probably need your developer to do this for you. So just email your developer, your website developer, whoever looks after your website, and say, hey, we'd like to embed our Google Business Profile on our Contact Us page. Whilst you're at it, we'd love a link to it as well. And they can just insert some code and boom, there it is. And that tells Google exactly where you are, which is a really huge part of this game. Right, going on further with the on-page website stuff. This first point, ensure location is obvious. So get friends, colleagues, family, whatever, to have a look at your website and just ask them, is it pretty obvious where we are? Does it say where we are? Can you tell who we are, where we are, what we do, and where we serve by looking at this website? And if it's not obvious to the human eye, then it's not probably obvious enough for Google either. So you might want to revisit your whole website. Maybe you need to have up the very top of the home page, we do this thing in this location, providing mechanical services to Tauranga, providing mortgage services to Christchurch. Maybe it has to be that obvious. It goes right up the top. Okay, so the location of your business is a critical part of how well you rank on Google Business Profile, and that's got to be on your website as well. Okay, point 2, always consider more internal links. So internal links are links within your own website to other parts of your website. That helps Google to rank your site. It helps Google to understand what your business does and where it is, and it helps visitors to your site to stay on there. So always consider building more internal links. I could do a whole workshop on that, so feel free to contact me and ask about that. Again, location content, you might even write about the frequently seen places in your town on your website. You might have things to do. You might decide to have a link or maybe some news on your blog about upcoming events in your town. All of that stuff tells Google where you are, and that helps your Google Business Profile to rank well, because Google starts to say, oh, wow, this website's really topical for this town, so we're going to reward all of their digital assets with better rankings. And also, point 3 will be consider hiring an SEO pro like us or somebody else to localize your website, to say to that person, we want our website to be more prominent locally. What can we do? What are some steps we should take? Now, step 16, this is getting into the nitty gritty. Okay, so these are steps you might not need to take. Well, actually, step 3 is really easy. You probably should do step 3. It's quite easy. So we do this for all clients. We start to build Google assets. Now, what do I mean by a Google asset? So your Google Business Profile is a Google asset. A YouTube channel is a Google asset. A website on blogger.com is a Google asset. A Google site, so google.site, is a Google asset. So we pay someone for this. We start to build Google assets, and this goes on and on. So it starts with one YouTube video via this link down here, which I'll explain in a second. We do some Google images, so we start to upload images to Google. Blogger.com lets you do that. We start to work on the Google sites, and there's other things you can do. You need to think about your business and what you do. But for example, if you're a visual type of business, let's say you're a bike shop, you might start creating how-to videos on YouTube. You might do video that then goes from YouTube onto your site. You might do images of those things, put those on your website as well. And you're just starting to create Google assets. Now, a bit complicated, but if you did these 2 things, you would win. 1, create a YouTube channel for your business. Make sure it's got your business link in there, your normal website. It's got your Google Business Profile in there as well, and some of the videos you shoot. Use it as a place to shoot explainer videos or answer Q&A that comes in, or show people some of the work you've done, just that sort of stuff. It might not get much traction at the start, but it might become quite useful in the long run. Step 2, visit this link. We have a few providers around the world that we use to do things for us. This website, legit.com, is kind of like a SEO platform. So lots of contractors have got different jobs there. This one's really useful. If you go to legit.com/lazylocalseo, they've got a service that is really awesome. It's about $20 US, and for that you get a 1-minute YouTube video on their channel talking about your business with links to your business. So again, a really strong link back to your business. You get some Google Business Profile posts done with images, which are geographically located. It's a really cool few little posts that you get for Google Business Profile. They create maps for your business. So there'll be Google Maps that are created, Google Images. They create all these photos, images, a whole bunch of Google assets that you don't even need to do anything with them. They simply exist, pointing more Google traffic your way. It's a really good service, and at the moment, we're using this guy for every single business that we work for. This might change, but at the moment, we use that particular service. So click on that link. We'll provide it somewhere. Just click on that and try it out. It's very good value, and we still have it in our list of things that we do. But if I was you, and you had a business that had lots of work that you do, I'd really consider starting a YouTube channel. It doesn't have to be brilliant to start with. Just start it, pay for a good header for the channel, and start putting video out there that's useful and showcases your business in a good light. This next step is, it's something that we try to do with everybody. However, it's difficult. However, it's very worthwhile. So when somebody links back to your business, not all links are created equal. So for example, a link from my business to your business, if you're in New Zealand, is kind of useful because I'm in New Zealand and my website's been around for a while. If stuff.co.nz links back to your business, that's huge because it's a very high authority website. If a blog in Ireland about lawn mowing linked to your hair salon business, not particularly useful. So not all links are created equal. So in this step, we try to find a local high authority link. So this would be something that's local to your business, that's high authority. For example, a local school, a local business group, some sort of charity or community group or chamber of commerce, something like that. If you've got kids at school, reach out to the local school and ask, how much to sponsor your website and get a link back to our business. Now, it might work, it might not, but we're always looking for ways to get this done. For my own business, I've done some free speaking engagements for local chambers of commerce and other business groups, and they link to my proviso is I'll do it, but I want to link back to my website, and they'll do that because they're getting a high quality session for free, but I'm also getting a very valuable backlink. So backlinks are, if you provide really good content on your website, people will probably link to it in the long run anyway. But if you want to fast track that, you need to find other ways to get in front of people and get them linking to you. You might want to partner up with local businesses. I mentioned before, in fact, there's a great example locally. There's a mechanic shop and a tire shop right next door to each other. So they should recommend each other and link to each other. They might have a page on their website called suppliers or vendors or preferred services, and they would link to each other. We have a page on our website where we list out most of the businesses we provide services to. We link to them because it helps Google with that backlink. So the game of backlinks is a really important part of normal SEO. When I say normal SEO, I mean your usual website, but it also is becoming increasingly important for Google Business Profile as well. So that local high authority link, the reality is if you get to the point where you have to do this to win, and you've done all the other things really well, then you are in a very competitive space. But it's also very useful just for your normal website. Another way to do it could be, let's say you're a bike shop and you have suppliers, you've got 10 different bike brands, maybe you got different suppliers of oil and tires and all the different things. Talk to those suppliers, as found at this bike shop. A hair salon, we use these clippers. Even linking out to those things from your website to them is useful. If they link back to you, really, really useful. Another thing we do on our clients' websites is often in the About Us page, it might say, we provide electrical services to Tauranga, New Zealand. We often will link the word Tauranga to the Wikipedia listing for Tauranga because Wikipedia is a very high authority website. It's big, it's well regarded, it's very safe. So linking out to some of those bigger websites is also quite useful. That step's not easy. I accept that. But the promise of this course is we will tell you our entire process. So that's why I'm obligated to tell you about this step. Okay. Granted, it's a bit trickier than some of the other steps. It's not technically tricky. It's just tricky to get it approved and done by people. Okay. Step 18 is not that hard. Once you get to the stage where you've got a really good listing, your Google Business Profile has got images, reviews, you've filled out all the categories, you've been working on it for a couple of months, keep in mind that our superpower is we're consistent. We work on these consistently for months sometimes to get the win. You might get to the stage where you go, wow, we've been working on this for a while, we're still not in the top 3. We need to be, we want to be. So local posts are useful. So you might post about the upcoming, so for Tauranga, for example, this last weekend was the half Ironman. You might post about that. Hey, this is on this weekend. If you're in town, come and grab something from our bakery, and you'll link to that event. You might talk about local news. You might be a small town like Taupo in the middle of New Zealand. You might talk about the lake, the different events, the ski fields, what happens in summer, the different weekend carnivals that are on, all those different things. So this is called localizing your Google Business Profile, talking about the local attractions, local events, local news. So get into it, start publishing content. It doesn't even have to be phone numbers. This shouldn't include phone numbers. Google doesn't like that. Google's not massive on links, but you should include images. You should include words. You can pop the odd URL in your updates as well, but not all the time. Now, this is the last step for our initial campaign, I guess I would say. So when somebody comes in, we will do a post in sprint. We will publish. We'll do updates. We'll do lots of them, again, just to test out what's going on. And the other reason that we do that I didn't mention before is it gets us logging on to their listing often. Google notices that that listing has been opened and worked on regularly. So Google says, aha, this listing is good. They're active. Let's reward them with better rankings. So make sure you get on there regularly. Even just opening the listing and scrolling through it is better than doing nothing. But maybe you'll see there might be a message there from a client. So when you enable the messages way back, hopefully that message notification comes through on your phone and usually an email to the Gmail account linked with the listing, but you might need to go to the platform as well and click on that message tab to answer any messages. We are seeing business being done on those messages, by the way. We have a tire business that we work for, and they are doing business via that messaging feature of Google Business Profile almost on the daily now. It's becoming very, very common, and simply because it's there, people grab their phone, they look for local businesses, and they click message. Let's ask these guys a question. Now, much like anything, if you don't reply, you won't get the business. So, but it's more than that. In the old days, you're in business, a phone rings, you answer it. If you ignore the phone, bad luck, they go somewhere else. So you need to reply quickly, but more so in this instance, if you are replying quickly, Google knows that and they reward that. So make sure you reply to your messages really quickly and prioritize them, because they're usually sales related inquiries. They're not general. They're like, I want this thing. How much is it? Do you have it now? So make sure you do that. So get onto that platform daily, I think, is the idea at the start, to make sure you give yourself every opportunity. Now, when we have worked through all of those steps, and as you can see, it's quite expensive. We ran this workshop for a major player in the SEO space last week, and he couldn't believe how much work was involved in these listings to get them up to the very top. Once we get to this maintenance phase, which could take a couple of months, there's really 4 things we keep doing. Thing 1, we will keep posting updates. We will keep checking the listing and making sure that there's something there. Update images, update words, short videos, but we will get updates in there. We will make sure we've replied to reviews. we will make sure we've requested reviews. We'll make sure that the client and the business has a good understanding of how they are gathering reviews and how they should gather reviews. We will go into the listing and we'll check for any updates. Now, Google does automatic updates. They will crawl around the internet and go, aha, we found a different website, or we found a different phone number, or we found that you do this service, not that service. And you'll get a little red dot on your dashboard. So you need to click on there and check your listing regularly to make sure that if Google's done updates for you, make sure that they're correct, or maybe they need some altering. So we'll do this for every client every week, just to make sure that the updates are correct. And also, again, it's about that full immersion into the Google product. We know that if Google can see that we're using it fully, then we'll get the rewards. And the fourth thing that we do constantly is the backlinks and citations. Our team is constantly working on getting more backlinks to our clients' main website and Google Business Profile, the pair of them. We'll also make sure that the links and citations are as good as possible. So we might be deleting or disavowing some of the older citations and links and trying to get better ones. Also, we might go back to some of the citations that they have, like we might find a listing on yellow.co.nz and decide that, we can upgrade that. We can improve upon that. We can add some more words, some more images, maybe add some more key phrases in there, maybe add a link to our Facebook page as well, and therefore we've improved that listing. In this maintenance phase as well, we will usually work with the client to ensure they're using Publer, the social media platform, and sending out updates about the business to the places we mentioned before. For example, Facebook page, LinkedIn company page, and Google Business Profile, to make sure that there's lots of stuff out there about the business and Google knows who you are and what you do. I will include that Publer link as well in the end so you know what we're talking about. Okay, so the other off-page activities we will be doing, apart from the backlinks that we just mentioned, would be the social signals. So make sure the client's using, not just posting to Facebook and LinkedIn company page and maybe the founder's LinkedIn personal page, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all those places. We make sure that they're applying and engaging with people, because Google will pick up on all of that activity and feed it back to their algorithm and go, aha. Essentially, the algorithm runs around the internet, gathers data and activity about the business, the website, the Google Business Profile, says, quite active, we know what they do, these guys are quite prominent, we should rank them up at the very top. Now we're down to the very last slide. So that's the end of the workshop. I'm going to have some links down below for you to use and review. In terms of continued learning, now we continually learn as we go via working on listings all the time. We also engage with lots of other people in the world doing this work. We watch YouTube videos, we're in LinkedIn groups, we're on Twitter, we're checking out blog posts all the time to upgrade our knowledge. We're also in Facebook groups, so I advise quite a few Facebook groups about this particular topic, Google Business Profile. I also participate in lots of discussions, and it's an ongoing discussion. People are constantly reviewing best practice, and that's what Google's doing. Google's changing all the time. Probably for you guys, keep on my Substack list. Make sure that if you have any questions, A, Google it, B, email me. I'm more than happy to answer anything you've got. Like I said at the start, I've got one goal here, and that's to make sure that you get some value and our whole process, and that you win. So if that means answering a few emails, that's cool. More than happy to do it. So that's the end of the workshop. Hopefully we've covered the whole lot. That's gone a bit longer than the live ones we've done, which is interesting. In the live ones, people have that opportunity for questions. So yeah, you've got that opportunity via email. If you're in Digital Marketing for Rookies, our Facebook group, you can find me there as well. But yeah, if you've got any queries about this stuff, then just reach out. Most importantly, do the stuff. Get in there, start the work, use the platform as often as possible, and keep learning as you go, and eventually you'll win. It might take you 6 months plus to win on Google Business Profile, but it's worth it because that's where the free phone calls come from these days. All right, guys, I'm going to sign out. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you win, and hopefully we'll talk soon. Bye for now.